Hi, hello. I'm assuming if you clicked on this video, you are a competitive cosplayer, or you're thinking about getting into competitive cosplaying, or maybe you're just curious as to what on earth a build book even is. Well, you have come to the right place. I just came off of a recent win at Tampa Bay Comic-Con with the best build book I have made ever, and I got some amazing feedback from one of the judges. So I thought it would be fun to put together a little video explaining my personal do's and don'ts when making a build book, and show you my build book as an example, and show you my old build book as a bad example. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. If you like to watch the thought progression and progress of a competition build, also make sure to subscribe, because I am documenting my process for creating a master level cosplay to try and get into the crown circuit for next year and compete at a regional, national, maybe international level. That would be amazing. I don't know if I can get in, but I am sure as heck going to try. Actually, my next build is this. And if you are a returning viewer, you have seen this image a lot, and I'm sorry. And if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you have any questions, make sure to pop them down below, or any comments or any additional tips, pop them down below. I would love to read them. I'm pretty responsive on here. So with that, why don't we get on into it? So I am extremely proud of my recent build book. The build I did was No Flutter, Sailor Cosmos. No Flutter is the artist. She created this amazing fan work of Sailor Cosmos. I think I'll pop it up somewhere around here so you can get a better view. And I fell in love with this design, and I decided to create it for as one of the characters in a larger Sailor Moon group called Mystic Guardians that we are actually celebrating our 5th year anniversary of being a Sailor Moon group with No Flutter's fairy build. So that's very exciting. Make sure to check them out on Instagram if you want to see some more really amazing Sailor Moon content. But this is the build that I chose to make my next competition piece. So when choosing a competition piece, and this could be a whole separate video, but you know, you want to make sure you choose something that is complex enough to be competitive in the field for your level. So I am master level, so I specifically choose things that are very complex and will showcase a variety of techniques, which is what the build book is for. If you don't know what a build book is, I guess I should probably start there. So a build book is a document, a printed document that we have to give to the judges. Actually, I think I need to backtrack a little bit more. So when you do a contest, there is something called prejudging when it's a craftsmanship contest. There are two different kinds of contests. You can do like a masquerade type contest where all you need to do is walk on stage and you're judged on what they see and your performance on stage. And then there is a craftsmanship contest where the judges get up close and personal, literally flipping your seams and looking at your hemlines and really trying to judge how you built that costume, and your stage presence doesn't really factor into your overall score, typically speaking. And so to do that, you go to prejudging, which happens earlier in the day of the contest, oftentimes in the morning, and then the contest is in the evening. And you usually only get 2 to 5 minutes. The longest I've ever gotten with a judge is 3 minutes, and the shortest I've ever gotten with a judge is 2 minutes, which was at Tampa Bay Comic-Con, and that was not enough time, let me tell you. That went by so fast. The build book comes into play for a few reasons in this prejudging. So you bring this with you for a reference so that the judges can reference the artwork against your build to judge it on accuracy. In craftsmanship contests, there's always an accuracy score that is part of the overall score. So you always do have a reference image. And then the build book is also used to showcase skills and different things that you did to create your piece. You have, 2 to 5 minutes. That is not enough time to go over everything that you did in your build and really showcase your skills. So you detail it in your build book so that when the judges are deliberating later, they can reference this to further judge your entry. And there's also another little piece that the build book does, which I know is recently a topic of discussion, and that is, this is a way to prove that you actually made your costume and that there is no cheating involved. There's been a lot of uproar over the past few months about people entering costumes that they themselves did not build. In a craftsmanship contest, you have to have made the piece. You can sometimes have a model wear it, so you make it, you put it on a model, and the model walks the stage. But if you do that, you're still in the prejudging. You're still the creator that's there explaining what you did for the build. The model isn't taking credit for any of the work. But there's been a lot of drama in the community lately about people not being honest. And so the build book is supposed to help prove that you are the one that made your costume. So why don't we talk about the good and the bad? These look pretty identical, the same sort of like graphic design, but there is one major difference here that you can see right off the top. This one is a picture of me in the costume on the cover, and this has a picture of the artwork. I recommend always putting a picture of the artwork on the cover of your build book and not doing this. I used to love this. Every build book I've made has had a picture of me on it. Usually it's a professional picture. I just thought it made it look like a clean publication, but this is not helpful to the judges. This is because when you walk in and you hand this to them, they don't have much time to flip through your book looking for your reference artwork. You want them to immediately have it in their hands so they can start examining your costume and asking you questions. The more time they spend looking at your costume than looking through your book, the better. So with this, the reference artwork is on the front. They can immediately look at this and they don't even have to open it for any reason during the prejudging. That's all that they need. And there's post-its on here. There's additional artwork that I have under here that shows sketches by the artist, 360 designs, and like breakdowns of some of the other pieces. That's behind a paywall by No Flutter. She creates what she calls cosplay kits, where if you like one of her drawings, she'll break down the full costume for you and make these reference art pieces, and then she sells them on her website. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend it. It was only like $10. It's not very expensive and well worth supporting a small business. My first tip though is always put your reference on the front. You could, I guess, put it on the back. Just make sure that you hand it to them with the reference artwork up front, but I think that this looks quite nice. And always put the character that you're cosplaying and put your name, your cosplay name, or whatever you use to enter the contest with on the cover, so they know exactly who you are without having to like dig through things. Another really big tip, another big do here is try to keep your build book under 8 pages front and back at the most. Like that's still a pretty big build book. Stop there. Make it shorter if you can. These do not have to be long. This is the one that I used when I competed in this same cosplay at MegaCon Orlando. I only got a judge's choice, which allowed me to recompete, which is why I completely redid this book, because this was just too much. This is 16 pages long, if I remember correctly, and I was convinced back in February when I made this that there was absolutely no way to shorten this book. I have patterning, hand dyeing, Worbla, EVA foam, 3D printing, hand embroidery, hand beading, handmade roses, wings, everything. I had so much stuff in here. I honestly could not even imagine shrinking this down. And I actually set this up so that when you first open it, you have a table of contents. I forgot to put page numbers on this. So if you do a table of contents, which is okay, I guess put page numbers. I tried to be smart with this and put like quick facts so that they could just pop in here, read important information about my build, and then they don't have to flip through anything else if they don't have time to do it. But this is still too much text. This block of text in prejudging and outside of prejudging, like when they're deliberating, they don't have time for this. I have also been a judge. We didn't have time for this. We spent a long time deliberating, but there were so many entrants that you don't have time. So blocks of text, not good. And you'll find throughout this whole build book, there's just blocks of text, full sentences explaining everything that I did. Don't do that. Don't do that. Your build books should be short. Very, very short. This is still a bit of a hefty build book, but you can see it's much shorter. And I do still have like some blocks of text in here, but there's really actually no reason to read that text because it's all summarized on this page, which I will get into in a moment. So that's my other do and don't, is to control the length of your build book. Trust me, it will be in your favor to do so. And on top of it, it is a lot less work to put something together like this than a hefty novel like this. So my other tip is when you're putting together your build book, create a easy to read reference page. So I did try to do that in my old one with this quick fact page. I upgraded it to this page. This page still has a lot of text in it, but what I did was I put little speech bubbles everywhere, and then I put dotted lines pointing to the pieces of the costume that that little bubble pertains to. But so that the judges didn't have to read everything, I bolded keywords. So I bolded things like 3D printed, handmade, gold leafed, hand sewn, hand dyed, Warbler, resin, EVA foam, because when you are competing, and if you're gunning for best in show, which is what I was trying to do, you want to showcase a wide variety of skills. And so that's what I was highlighting in this page, is all of these little pieces that I did that are an extra skill. So Warbler is a skill, dyeing fabric is a skill, hand embroidery is a skill, all that stuff. So that is what I was doing with this page. So the judges do not have to go any further if they don't want to. Chances are they barely glanced at this because it is a lot of text, but just in case that is there. In my next build, I'm really hoping to simplify this into much fewer speech bubbles, but I struggled with that in this particular build. Next, let's talk about your sections. So it is really good to split up your sections by piece. I have mine split up by bodice, brooch, skirt, sleeves, wig, accessories, boots, and wings, because those are all the core components of my build that I thought needed the explanation of what I did to make them. Be photo heavy. This I still think is too much text. They're mostly interested in the photos of your creation, the behind the scenes. I always include, for instance, like in the bodice, I always include a picture of the inner workings of my corset. This shows that I know how to construct a corset, and I know the inner workings that need to be there, like the waist tape and how the boning channels need to go and how the panels are cut. I always include this. I have included like a picture of my 3D printer running. I had a picture in this, and it might be later, but of like the screen of me modeling the 3D print files. That's a good way to show that you did the modeling. On the brooch, I have a picture of the laser engraving file. I've got a picture of the pattern that I made, the inner workings of the wig. It's just, you want to showcase your in-progress photos to show the techniques that you did and prove that you did make it from scratch, if you did make it from scratch, or you modified it, however you did it, and really highlight everything that you did. Be photo heavy. And these days, I am going to say, try to include photos of you working on the piece. It's not something I've done before, but it's definitely something I'm going to do in the future, given all of the scandals that have been happening. That's just another way to prove that it is your work, and then no one can ever question you. And it will also stop people from potentially stealing your images if you post them online. What I'm trying to say is we don't like plagiarism, and a great way of trying to stop people from plagiarizing your work is by putting you in it. That's all I want to say on that. I also included a picture of me in the costume on the back, as big as I could make it. I cannot remember what cosplayer I got this from. I know I saw a video a while ago on this, but they did it specifically so that the judges could open the book like this and see a side-by-side comparison of the artwork and you. And I thought that was such a brilliant idea. And if I can find the video, I will link it below and add something up around here, because I want to give them credit for that idea. It was such a cool idea. So those are build books in a nutshell. they're really easy to make. Those are my tips. Keep it short, keep it front and back, put your artwork on the front. You are photo heavy and not text heavy. Include pictures of yourself in the build book of you working on it. Do a quick reference page in the front. Don't worry about the binding. I used to spend a lot of money getting things spiral bound because I thought they looked nice, and I moved to these folder clips and now I just have it stapled. This I think cost me $15 to print because of how big it is, and this I think cost me $4 to print. So I just get them printed at FedEx Kinko's. You can print them at home. You don't have to have them professionally printed. My printer is terrible, so I always pay to get them printed. I actually have a couple other bonus tips. So that's all of the build book build tips that I have, but a couple bonus tips are when you print these, typically you only need to bring one to prejudging. That's all that is required. I bring one for every judge as a courtesy. So if it's 3 judges, I bring 3. If it's 4 judges, I bring 4 plus 1. I always have a spare. Part of it is because I will keep it at the end. You often don't get build books back after a competition. A lot of times they just get thrown away unless you specifically ask for it. I don't want to go through the hassle, so I just print a spare, and that one's going to be mine to keep. If something happens, I have a backup. So what I do is, if there are 3 judges, I print 4. I take 3 of them and I put them together in a packet, and those go somewhere. They go in my suitcase or in my wig box, they go somewhere. And then I have the spare one in a different container. Maybe it's with the cosplay or something, just in case something happens. Luggage gets lost, something spills, I forget one at home. I have a backup with me. So it just puts my anxiety at ease. So I always recommend printing one for every judge plus 1 additional so that you have a backup. And have your handler, if you have a handler, hold on to the backup. If not, you can carry it with you, pass out the ones to the judges, and there's often like chairs or a table or something where you can set the extra one down while you are being prejudged. So that's my bonus tip. That's all I had for you. I hope this was informative and I wasn't too rambly. I get really excited to talk about things and kind of go off topic sometimes. Let me know what you think. If there's any other questions I could answer about competitive cosplay, about the championship circuits or anything like that, ask below. I can always make videos to do more in-depth analysis. I also want to make a video about choosing a competition winning piece, because it can make or break your competition. I don't want to say experience, but that like your chances. The piece that you choose to compete in makes all the difference, of course. I kind of want to go into that a little bit. So that's what I have for you. Again, if you like seeing, cosplay builds and tutorials and thought processes, I do post weekly an update, which is just me sort of like chatting about what I did that week and talking through some of my processes and making changes on the spot sometimes. It's just a way to keep myself on track for my builds and also just share a little bit with you guys. And then I post more in-depth videos for my builds as I finish pieces, but those come out more sparingly because it takes me a while to finish some of my pieces. So I will finally go, because this is a really long outro, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!